Hello, and welcome to the Resilient Leader's Journey, a podcast where we talk about the challenges of navigating growth and change. My name is Trent Theroux, and if you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe. Go ahead, click that button. You can find us on LinkedIn, our YouTube channel. For audio, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get them. I am so excited. Today's guest is Scott Scovill from Nashville, Tennessee. Scott is the owner of Moo TV. He's on the board of directors of the Country Music Association, and he has a new book coming out called Tenacious, the Art of Relentlessly Pursuing Your Wildest Dreams. There it is. Scott, hello. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I have never felt better in my life. Let me tell you, being on the board of the Country Music Association, what would
Close. I was on the CMA board. I'm actually on the ACM board, which is the other organization. I've hopped over.
Is that
but
like
they're very similar organizations? They both
is that
have
like
big
Jets
award
and Sharks?
shows.
They have a rivalry with each other, or
They do not actually. They work really well together, and a lot of people are on both. There was a period where I was on both. Yeah.
Well, if you want this video to get 1 million likes and views, I would recommend that you have Dolly Parton sign something special for me right now. And
she is the greatest human I've ever met, I think.
Yeah.
I tried to get her in the book. She cordially declined, but I have incredible stories from working with that woman. She is, well, you talk a lot about leadership on this thing. That woman leads in a way that you would run through a brick wall for her, because you are positive that she is the greatest force of good, and you're just so damn glad to be a part of it. And you know what? She is that good. All of us would have killed for her. She's just incredible.
It's the persona that I've known for the last 50 years is only matched by what we hear about her generosity. I haven't met her up close, but for every national disaster, every time the country or a region needs her, Dolly's in front helping. How does that make a leader? What makes a leader want to do that?
Well, I think, the quality of her character just shines through. I think that she had a tough upbringing and, plenty of love, but not a lot of money. And it's just grown her into this person who understands what it's like to want and need. And she's got all this empathy. She's just got tons of empathy. She sees someone hurting and she goes, ooh, I can help with that. I can fix that. I can make that better.
Sure. Well, wonderful. Scott, one of my favorite albums of all time is The Joshua Tree by U2. I think I understand that you were a stowaway on their tour. How did that work out?
That's how I got my start in the business. I at a rock bottom moment in my life, like flunking out of college, just lost as a young man. I waited on their technical staff, and when I realized you could do that for a living, I was so stunned that I dropped everything. I quit college, quit my 3 jobs, sold my Super Sport Camaro, and started sneaking in every day. I was living in my car, driving all night from show to show instead of sleeping, and sneaking in every day to work for free. I did that for 5 weeks through walking pneumonia, almost crashing my car. I can't tell you how many times. I was nearly arrested 3 times, but I found something I loved and just said, I gotta learn more about this. And I pushed all my chips in and went wild trying to get on that tour. I did not succeed in getting on the tour, but I did get started in this industry and learn a lot.
Okay. I noticed you were on stage, and I'm talking a huge stage. Was that Alan Jackson you were on stage with?
I perform. It's my hobby.
Okay.
So my day job is helping all these people stay famous, right? We've got about 30 huge acts that we work with and just keep going. But my hobby is performing. So I perform quite a bit in Europe. Only do it in Europe just because that keeps it kind of sane, right? And it's kind of fun. I love to travel over there. But I'm once again, it hasn't been announced yet, but people can hear it here. I am opening for Brad Paisley in Hamar, Norway, and Alesund, Norway,
Oh my
June
God.
13 and 11. And so I'll be in front of over 10,000 people with a microphone singing songs.
Oh, by the way, if you need a backup singer, I
I
cannot
do.
carry.
And that's actually why I'm doing this podcast, just to get you to. I just got to see your moves first, though. Like, I know you can sing, but I got to see what kind of dance moves you have.
I get the moves like Jagger, baby.
There you go. You're in. And I used to work for him, too. So I
Ah,
know that's good.
yeah. So you're all these European. Are you going to try to, qualify for Europop next year?
I don't think so. I think I'm double the age of the average contestant, and honestly, I'm in the music business, and I know that being famous is incredibly hard, and being an artist is incredibly hard. I want to do just enough of it to have a good time, and then slide back into my anonymity. So, A, I wouldn't make it, and B, I'm too old, and C, that's not really what I want. I'm just having a good time, right? Like, yeah, make it fun.
Maybe you can talk to us more about what Moo TV is and Center Stage and
Yeah,
how big that organization is and people.
yeah,
And then I'm going to start asking questions about how you run an
yeah.
organization that big. It's much bigger than I was expecting.
Yeah, well, I have Moo TV, I have the Steel Mill, and I have Moo Creative. Those three companies are all in Nashville, and I'm sole owner. I'm only a minority partner in Center Staging. A guy named Mitch runs that and does a great job with that. So I'm way more active in the other three companies. Moo TV has about 100 employees. If you count all the companies together, it's about 200 overall. But Moo has 100 of them ish. We grow as different things are going out. Like we just put the Luke Combs tour out, and that's 16 people on the road with him doing his video production. So when you go to a concert and you see massive screens and cameras, and in the cheap seats you can see what's going on, and we do that for a lot of acts. In fact, we've been voted best in the industry more often than not for the past 15 years at the Polestar Awards for doing that. So big screens and big experiences at live shows.
That's super exciting. How or what are the challenges you face about running a few different companies? I know you described yourself to me earlier as an accidental entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
what are the challenges of managing all different companies?
Yeah, I think that so the challenge really comes mostly with the first one,
Okay.
because in the first one you have to learn. There's a really great book called The E-Myth, and I hope your listeners know it if they're interested in being a leader at all. But the E-Myth is that the entrepreneurial myth is that if you're good at doing something, you'd be great at running a business in it. So like you might make, one of the examples they use in the book, as I recall, is you're great at making donuts, so you open a donut shop.
Hmm.
But making donuts has almost nothing to do with running a donut shop. It's all the other stuff.
That's right.
And I had a similar journey. I started doing what I did, being very good at video production, but not knowing how to run a business. I call myself an accidental entrepreneur because my boss was killed in a carjacking, and the employees asked me if I would step in and start a company like his. I don't think I ever would have done it on my own. I'm grateful in hindsight, but I mostly did it to try and keep some part of my dear friend alive, if you will,
Sure.
which isn't the best reason. But I think the hardest fought lessons for me were that you're not making the donuts anymore. Even though I'm really good at video, I now have to be good at talking to the bank, getting loans, setting up organizational systems, looking at the big picture. Like people are doing the show, I shouldn't be doing the show. I should be standing back and making sure the client's happy and that we're doing it in a certain way, and where can we save money, and what's the future technology going to be. So instead of working in the business, you have to work on the business. And that was the hardest transition for me. And it took a few years for me to even realize that I was screwing it up. But I finally started having anxiety attacks from trying to run around and touch everything at once. And I figured out, I read that book, and it was incredible, and went to a course at Vanderbilt and said, you dummy, you need to hire the right people, and you need to hire, like, I'm an entrepreneur. I have crazy ideas. Like, let's go climb that mountain and everybody come with me, and we all do. But I'm probably not the best guy to plan all the stuff we should bring with us and how we should get there. And so I started surrounding myself with very by the book thinkers who like to put things in order and have systems in place, kind of the opposite of me. And I trusted and delegated those people. And that was the biggest transition that I made. And once I did that, then replicating it is easy. So the replicating part and having more of them isn't hard. Getting it right the first time and learning to let go is the hardest part.
I talk about this a lot. I interchange with a lot of entrepreneurs, many younger ones. And the way I phrase it to them is you need a who, not a how. They're so used to, I gave a speech last year. I had all these entrepreneurs from different smaller industries. And I said to them, asked the question, how many of you in the last 6 months have cleaned your company's toilets? And about 75% of them, their hands up. I go, right. I said, that's not your role. That's when you need a who, not a how. Your role is to think about how we're going to manage it. Go find somebody who can take care of the toilets for you, and trust me, you will advance further. And it sounds like that's what you're describing.
That is absolutely right. Put systems in place, and in this case, find someone who really cares about how the facility looks and trust them to take care of the toilets and everything else. And so find someone that just find the right people, empower them to do their job. When you help them, you almost disenfranchise them. When they go to clean the toilet and see that you've cleaned it, they might feel like they've failed you in some way. And
Sure.
so you got to get the right people and then trust them. And I think that's something that I've been very fortunate to have amazing people, and I trust them.
And so how do you go through that hiring process? How do you find the right people that fit in your organization?
Getting back to the accidental entrepreneur thing, I was like, wow, am I really going to do this? And when I decided to start the company, remember, I wasn't trying to be successful. I didn't have this dream of, someday owning a company and retiring in my yacht. I just was trying to keep some part of my friend alive. So I thought, if I'm going to do this really hard thing, I want to do it with people I care about and people that if I'm going to go through hell, I want the right people with me. And so instead of picking through the company for the people that were the very best at what they did, I picked the people that were the very best to be around. And that was a recipe for not based on bottom line success, based on just keeping my heart going through all this. And what I have found beautifully is that ends up being a great recipe for long-term success, because if you just hire the people you want to be around, who are good at their job, they obviously need to do a good job or you probably wouldn't want to work with them. But it turns out those are the people your clients want to be around too. And unknowingly, I really was setting myself up and the company up for great success. I believe when we win this award, we're so much smaller than our competitors. I mean, we're big, but we're smaller than our competitors. And it must stun them that we win the award, because I know it stuns me. But people always say, we just love working with your company. We see all these other companies roll through our arena this year, but we vote for you because your guys are always so nice. So that's made the difference for me. I succeeded in working with people I love. And it turns out that was a recipe for long-term success for me and my companies.
The last couple of months, I've talked with some folks, and the word love has come up as a business strategy. Mm-hmm. Is that what you think? Do you think love can be a component of a business strategy?
Sure. No one's ever asked me that, so thank you. No, I've never thought about it like that. But I do. I love the company. I love our employees, and I love our clients, and I love what we get to do. I mean, I'm lucky. My industry is, we make people happy. If we do our job right, the lights go out. We just launched Luke Combs 2 weeks ago. The lights went out and 70,000 people stood up and went nuts. So mission accomplished. But yeah, I do. I love a lot of our employees, and it's gotten to the point where I don't know them all that well because it's time and it grows. But the ones I know, absolutely adore. It amazes me that I don't know everybody. Just a few years ago, I knew everybody. And, moving into more of a CEO role over all the companies, we have new hires, and I'm like, who's that? And they're like, he's been here for 4 weeks. And I'm like, oh, crap, introduce me. But yeah, I think love's a great word for it.
I've run into a similar. My organization got up to almost 700 people, and I'd be the same way. When I first got there and we were 250, one of my goals in the first 90 days was to meet 90% of them. And then it got to the point where it's so big, it's hard to do. And then you have to start trusting the people that you've hired, that you love, to bring in the right people that fit that, so you don't have too many derivative down of
No.
of character.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now. And I feel like it's working beautifully. I trust that it's flowing down through, and that we're picking the right people.
Sure.
And if we find out someone's character just isn't quite aligning with our company, they might be. There have been several points in our company, especially in the way back, where something's going on in their personal life, and you'd talk to them and talk to them and talk to them, and finally you'd be like, we're going to let you go if you can't stop being like this. And we've fired the best engineer in the company. We've fired the best video director in the company. We fired really key roles, and it stunned them. And it was awful. But we're like, man, you're not being who we are right now. And we tried to love you through it, but if you can't accept help, then, And honestly, those people have come back to me and said, like, man, thank you. I actually needed to hear that at that point. And, and I've helped them get other jobs elsewhere. And they seem to be doing great. Everybody goes through a rough patch. Most of our people, we love through it. We find them therapy. What's going on? How can we help you? Every now and then you run into someone who doesn't want help. And yeah.
Everybody can't be the perfect fit, but the idea that if you have to separate, sometimes it's best for both parties, right? It's the best for them. It will be the best for you. You get to meet somebody new. They find an organization that better suits their skill set and character. So,
yes, yeah, yep.
I want to spend a few minutes, and maybe more than a few, talking about your new book. I found it to be very interesting. Maybe give us a show here, and maybe you can talk about what the dynamic is, what made you start it, and how you lay it out. That's very unique to me.
Do you know Cameron Harold? He's an incredible entrepreneur. He CO'd 1-800-GOT-JUNK into the stratosphere.
Okay.
He's a friend, and I started doing some public speaking, and I asked him if he would mentor me. And the first day of mentoring, he said, "You're such a storyteller. You got to write books." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Nah, I'll never write a book." And I got thinking about it, and I do love the idea of sharing and giving back. My favorite way to learn is through stories. I actually can't stand self-help books that beat you over the head with something, and so many of them do. I don't like to be told what to do. If you tell me what to do, I probably won't do it, right? But if you show me what you did and let me get really excited when you win and get absolutely crushed with you when you fail, I will learn from both of those things, and I will enjoy doing it. And so when it came time to write a book, I thought, really the difference maker in my life is tenacity. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not the best looking. I'm not the most talented. But I have gone from a life where I was absolutely ashamed to a life that I'm really proud of. And it's what I want my life to be. It may not be the best life in the world, but boy, it makes me happy. And the difference maker for me was that when I find something I love, I don't give up. I just keep trying. And developing that, going from completely untenacious as a young man to being fiercely tenacious as I ran down that dream of being on tour, that has made all the difference in my life. And I draw on that as I chase crazy dreams, like being a lead vocalist, writing a book. And I thought, this is the power in my life that I want to share with people. And the other thing is, in being in entertainment, I am around all these incredible people. And it's not just the singers and the band members. They're friends with all the other famous people, right? Once you get in those circles, they all kind of hang out together. So I looked at all of my famous, inspiring friends, and if you ask any of them, even though they have incredible talent, they might have pitch perfect hearing or an eidetic photographic memory, whatever talent they have, when you ask them how they made it, they won't talk about that. they'll be like, well, I didn't give up. And they'll tell you all these stories about how it just got awful, but they kept going. And I thought, well, this is the thing to write about. Because unlike a photographic memory, you were either born with it or you weren't. Tenacity is something you can 100% develop. I know because as a young man, I had virtually none. And as in my middle ages, I was fiercely tenacious. And now I'm just turning on when I need to. I'm a lot more chill now, right? Because I've arrived in a lot of ways. But I can turn it on when I need to and run down dream after dream. So that's the idea behind the book. And it reads fun. It doesn't say, hey, dummy, go do this. It says, hey, guys, look what I did. And then it says, hey, guys, look what Scott Hamilton, the figure skater, did. Or there's a couple astronauts in the book. Or all these people that have lived incredible lives, rock stars like Peter Frampton are in the book. Just telling you, like, whoa, the reason I'm here is I didn't give up. Like, that's how I got here. And so I think it's fun to read, but the whole point is to just tell stories that encourage people to go, you know what? I should be a little more willing to fail, and I should be a little more willing to try. And wouldn't that make a difference in my life? And the answer is yes.
Are you telling me that you let Peter Frampton show you the way?
I did. Peter Frampton Comes Alive. Frampton Comes Alive was the first album I ever owned.
Okay.
And about 15 years ago, at least 10 years ago, man, his manager called me and said, hey, we've heard some really good things. Peter's doing a big reunion tour for the Comes Alive album, the anniversary. We're thinking about having you design it. And I'm like, we are doing all of it. And you can't pay me enough to like keep me away. Like, I am coming. Just be reasonable. Like, this is awesome. And the great part, you know, they say never work with your heroes. I haven't found that to be true. Peter is one of my heroes, and he is just a remarkable human being. And we've gotten to be friends. And he wrote this incredible story in my book of, you know, Peter had the biggest selling album in the world, but then went through like 16 years of failure before he finally was reborn and it started selling out shows again. And, you know, and it's just an awesome story. And the fun thing is, for me, like, I've known Peter for over 10 years. I didn't know he and David Bowie grew up together. Like, that was incredible to me. But I toured with Bowie. I spent a year with Bowie in 1990. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, you and David toured together? You and David were friends? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, we toured together. I was like, what? So there's just a lot of cool stories in there that are like, wow, look at what these guys are doing. But it's not like, here's how awesomely talented I was and now I'm super famous. It's like, here's how hard it was, but I didn't stop. And now I'm Peter Frampton, or an astronaut, or fill in the blank.
I may put us in the exact same room. 36 years ago, I saw Bowie in the Glass Spider tour. That would be the 1990 tour.
No, it wasn't. That was the tour right before it. I was on the Sound Vision tour.
All right.
When David was doing Glass Spider, I was with U2. I believe it was 1987. So I was with U2 on Joshua Tree. But I would have loved to have seen that. And I would have loved to think that you and I in the same room. No, I did the Sound Vision tour.
Okay.
Yep.
Very
was the
cool.
next one after that.
Yeah. So how is the book structured? I understand each chapter has a different friend, we'll call it. And what are you doing inside of each chapter that would be of value to your reader?
Yeah, well, you know, mostly it's my stories. So it's mostly like my life. And so in chapter 1, I'm talking about just the early fledgling stages of tenacity showing up in my life, like just being an absolute wreck and flunking out of college. But that struggle is maybe setting me up for something big, obviously not revealing it. And, you know, maybe the struggle is good for me. And then I go, but someone who knows more about that is Scott Hamilton. And then Scott seamlessly chimes in and goes, hey, man. And he talks about how he was born with brain cancer. It stunted his growth. He had a really rough childhood. He was adopted. He was sick. He spent years in and out of the hospital and had horrible treatments that were just awful. And he went through a lot as a kid. But when it came time to pursue Olympic gold, that stunted growth left him with the right body frame to maybe achieve. But more than that, the crap he went through built up the resilience he needed to endure and go and do that. And he had an incredible run as a figure skater. He won everything. He won the national championship and the world championship 4 years in a row and won Olympic gold. He's Scott Hamilton. But he wouldn't be Scott Hamilton if he didn't have all the disadvantages. And that crap that built all that character is the key to building him. And he's grateful for the crap he went through, just like I'm grateful for all the crap that built me.
Scott Hamilton is an American icon and seems to surely be a really darn nice guy as well. And
I think he may be, I have to interrupt. I'm so sorry.
No, please go
but
right
I think
ahead.
he might be the best person on the planet alongside of Dolly Parton. Like
the Mount Rushmore of nice people. We got
they're really like, they're just it. And you meet Scott, and Dolly is a dynamo and a force of nature who turns it on and off and is never not nice, but you turn it on and she's a force. Scott Hamilton can't turn it off. You see him on a Tuesday and you will walk away from him ready to set the world on fire just because you were standing next to him, and he radiates energy. He's awesome.
Very cool story, and it's amazing. There are people like that. You just feel that charisma come through them, and it's genuine. And that's what makes great leaders.
Yes, both of them. Oof.
Scott, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Who is your favorite fictional character?
Oh, I think Captain Kirk, my very first hero. And you know what's fun? Talking about famous people hanging out. I actually have spent time with Bill Shatner several times. But I love the way that Bill presented himself on the bridge, and he would do questionable things with his starship with all those lives at risk. And everyone would be like, okay, we're going to follow the captain. And I think there's some real leadership lessons in there of just the charisma and the confidence and the swagger that he hit that bridge with. He was everything I wasn't as a young man, and I admired him so much, that character. But it turns out Will is very similar. The first time I met him, I was Brad Paisley and he are great friends. And Will walks on the tour bus one day and didn't say hello. He broke into a story about competing with his horse. And he walks onto the bus and goes, "It was a moment between a man and a steed. The crowd hushed." And he just is so theatrical and over the top. And he's like, and he tells this whole story and he goes, "And as I let loose the reins, I knew the moment was ours." And I'm just sitting there the whole time he's talking going, "Oh, Captain Kirk just walked into my world." I was so awestruck. He is a wonderful human.
It was a fantastic story.
It is. Yeah. So how fun. Again, don't be too afraid to meet your heroes. He did not disappoint, and I have very much enjoyed spending time with him on a few occasions, thanks to my friendship with Brad.
Scott Scovill, this has been a wonderful time to get to spend with you. I'm really honored you came here. I'm very excited for your book, Tenacious, that's coming out next week. I'll encourage all of my listeners
this
and viewers.
week for when you release this. So
go
get it.
You can get it that day. You can go get it that day. That's right. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. This was fun. Good to meet you.
Resilient leaders, they face challenging currents. And it's tough navigating, but with one tack or another, we can get there together. Again, if you enjoy episodes like this, please subscribe. And by the way, go tell a friend about it so they can enjoy it alongside with you. Once again, last thanks to our guest, Scott Scovill, and we will see you again next time. Be well, friends.